I don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
For tuning in. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the morning show. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it like always.
No, we don't.
Right in the middle of the seriously. Right in the middle of the welcome.
Yeah, 10:04 and he's hammered.
Jesus.
Been drinking grappa since 6 o'clock this morning.
It's the only way to wake up.
Yeah. Yaya's homemade stuff.
May as well be moonshine.
All right, guys, head on over to YouTube and subscribe to this channel. There's so much shit happening every single day. And for exclusive content, you can head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. You can follow the guy that keeps interrupting every fucking opening. I'm Poseidon69, and he has a website. What is it?
IamPoseidon.com.
IamPoseidon.com. And sorry, the things for the social media is the Poseidon.
Yes.
69.
I will say on my website, it's not very exciting at the moment. I just put it up as a landing page, all the stuff I've done and blah, blah, blah. I will be making modifications. I don't know when to make it a little more
Basically
exciting.
nothing new. The same old Poseidon. Nothing exciting and everything.
You got an OnlyFans yet?
Not yet.
No?
Not yet. Hey, guys.
Because you got a nice rack.
You can make a lot of money with those pepperoni nipples.
I could, yeah. I do have pepperoni nipples.
Pepperoni nipples, wow. I've heard flapjack nipples, but never.
You haven't seen my nipple set?
No, I don't want to
it's
either.
fine. It's too early for this shit, man.
It'll. At no time do I want to see them, regardless of what time of the day it is.
Hey guys, if you like the YouTube channel, the Pantelis Comedy YouTube channel, there is a podcast that has started up again, Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast. There's already 2 episodes up there, and there's more to come. Speaking of which, I have the great honor of hosting this great show with the legend himself, Mr. Ted Burr.
The first episode of this season of Standing By did very well. We had Bob Merrier on. He's an interventionist and sobriety coach. He was Rob Ford's sobriety coach when the former Toronto mayor was, the late former Toronto mayor was on a big tear.
Mm-hmm. An absolute legend.
Who, Rob Ford? Yeah, was he ever, right? Yeah, he really was. Not in a good way, but he really was. And this morning, we dropped episode 2 of season 6 with Mitch Garber, Montreal lawyer, businessman, philanthropist, one of the wealthiest and most successful businessmen in the country.
And the owner of a hockey team, too.
Yeah, he's the minority owner of the Seattle Kraken of the NHL. And it was, well, you were here, Poseidon, when we were talking to him. Did you find that interesting?
His story, yes.
Yeah, and he's a very grounded guy, too.
He seemed like it, yeah.
He hasn't changed. He's the same. The money hasn't changed him. He's the same guy that he always was, and that's nice to see. Yeah. And I don't know how much money he's got. I don't know if he's a billionaire with a B, but if he's not, I think he's pretty close. I know that he's sat in he has sat in boardrooms and cut multi-billion-dollar deals.
Really?
Yeah, like he really moves in high-powered business executive multi-billion-dollar circles.
Where did he start his money? In real estate or?
No, he was a lawyer, and then he got into internet payment processing.
Ah, yes.
And then from there, he went to internet gambling. He was like the CEO, possibly of the World Series of Poker. One of those major, like he lived in London for a while. He lived in Gibraltar for a while. And he was running these gigantic internet gambling websites and companies. And there's more money in that than you can shake a stick at.
You know what's fascinating? When you find out how certain people made their money, and it's fascinating. It's these fascinating industries that it never just goes through your mind, right? It's like, oh yeah, I did this, and then I went there, and then I opened this internet company, and we did the gambling thing, and it's like, what the fuck? How do you?
Smart guys see the opportunities, and they seize the moment. Our first guest of the season, Bob Merrier. Bob is himself a recovering alcoholic and drug addict who saw that, and he was connected in the entertainment industry. He worked in Hollywood, so he knows how many big stars with big money are drunks and drug addicts.
Well, that's the recent one that passed away.
Exactly, Matthew Perry, And Bob saw that opportunity and took advantage of it. And he makes a lot of money as a sobriety coach and interventionist. And as someone who's been in AA myself for going on 27 years, I'm of two minds. I look at that and I go, okay, well, we're supposed to freely give back what was given to us in terms of our sobriety, right? I think that on the one hand, I think, is he outside the lines of the traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous? And then on the other hand, I think, where's my fucking $1 million for my 26 years of sobriety, So I understand, and I see that he saw an opportunity and he took advantage of it, and he helps a lot of people. He has helped a lot of people get sober.
But if he, let's say he's worth 10 million. I'm using this as a random example.
Are we talking about Mitch Garber here, or
no,
Mitch is worth more? Mitch is worth more.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm talking about the sobriety coach. But even if he's worth, like, this is my opinion on these things. If he's worth, let's say he's worth 10 million, he made his money doing this, but he delivered results.
Yes,
I have no issue with this.
Yeah,
it's not like those, the priests that are multimillionaires. They have jets and stuff.
Oh yeah,
you mean evangelists?
The pastors. Those pastors.
Evil spirits come out. Those guys.
Yeah, those guys. That I don't like. That is taking advantage of people. 100%. But if you're actually helping people get better and this and that, and you're actually changing lives.
Yeah, and he is. I've sat in AA meetings where more than one person has said, thank God for Bob.
Yeah,
Bob saved my life. Thank God for Bob.
You deserve your millions, in my opinion. If you made money doing that and you actually delivered results, in my opinion, you deserve the money more than the pastors that steal from people.
Yeah, well, those are just predators.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, preying on people's insecurities and picking their pockets.
That's my opinion on that. Yeah. Because business is business at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Owning a sports team, though, must be fun. Going back to Mitch Garber.
Yeah.
It's coming from like such a sports city, and I never got into sports for whatever reason. I played a lot of them, but I don't.
You're not a big fan. You don't watch. You don't get hung up on the Habs.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like
it's
that.
not like I gotta be home as a game starting and I need to watch kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in the car, I'll listen to it, and I usually put the French guys on. They're fantastic. They're fantastic, Maguire and the other guy, but just coming from this city, just to know, this whole culture and this whole thing that we have going on, this whole vibe, to know that eventually, like you get a team, it must be such a cool feeling,
Well, for a sports fan, it's the ultimate toy, right?
For sure,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
like you've heard what's his name, Mark Cuban, and that whole story about him buying the Mavericks,
Dallas Mavericks, yep,
and how he just brought the team from like nobody even knew this team existed to championships,
Because he invested.
Well, he invested and he's there.
Hired the right people.
Hired the right people.
I think that's another thing you have to do as an owner. If you're the majority owner in particular, or the sole owner, you have to set your own ego aside and hire the right people. Hire people who know about the sport and about team building. because left to your own devices, sometimes you could, run the thing.
Yeah, you get caught up in your own kind of thing. Speaking of hockey, you sent me the thing so we can discuss it, but I also saw the clip and it was just horrible to watch. I think everyone saw it. That freak accident, and I'm not sure it was an accident.
What freak accident?
You didn't see it? Is this college hockey?
No, it's professional hockey. It's professional hockey in England. So it's a lower tier of
Did you send the link?
professional hockey compared to what we have here. Adam Johnson, who played 13 games in the NHL with the Pittsburgh Penguins back in 2019-2020, was cut in the throat by a skate of another player and bled to death. He died. He was killed.
Yeah.
And
This is recent.
yeah, it was last Saturday. Last Saturday, yeah.
Oh.
And I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched the tape because I can't.
I saw
For the same reason I can't watch the body cam, the Hamas body cam of the slaughter of the Israeli citizens, and I can't watch video of children being pulled out of the rubble in Gaza.
Yeah.
I can't take it.
Yeah.
I can't process it. And pardon me. And, physically I'll have I'll throw up if I watch it or faint, one of the two. So I don't know. You had mentioned that, or you had sort of inferred part of what's the story. You just watched it, eh, Poseidon?
I saw the hit now.
Yeah.
Part of the story now is did the other guy do it on purpose?
I mean, again,
The police are investigating.
They're investigating from what I read, and from the video that I saw, I mean, there was clearly an intention to hit because the way that the he's coming in from the side into the zone so as soon as he crosses from the blue line. The guy, I don't know what his name is, that hit him.
Matt Petgrave is the name of the guy who hit him. Adam Johnson is the guy who was killed, and Matt Petgrave.
So he was kind of like in the middle of the zone that the other guy was entering, and he crossed, and there was like in the first time you see, you're like, oh, he tripped, and as he's tripping, his leg kind of hits him in the neck. But there's nobody there to trip him. I mean, he kind of just dives, and as he dives, he raises his leg up and hits him right in the neck.
So Petgrave did not collide with another player before hitting Johnson?
There were two other players.
But it kind of looked like I watched the video. I didn't see the full uncensored. I just saw the collision.
Because there are two players that collide in front of Petgrave.
Right.
But he doesn't touch anyone. He just kind of dives.
Yes, but to me, it seems like Petgrave wanted to collide with the initial player and then accidentally ended up colliding with Adam Johnson. That's what it seems.
Well, did Adam Johnson have the puck when he was hit? Was he the puck carrier?
No.
He was not the puck carrier on the play?
No.
No, I'm trying to remember the clip. No, I think the guy that had the puck was the guy that got checked, and that's where Petgrave was.
I'm rewatching it for
Watch it again. We don't put it up. We don't want to watch it, but I don't remember him having the puck either.
I find it hard to believe that anybody would deliberately want to slice somebody's neck.
I don't know.
with their
Maybe he didn't
skate.
want to slice his throat, but he thought, I want to hit him or something.
Well, that's
he's
what
in the way.
Jesse Waters on Fox News had Sean Avery on. Sean Avery's a former NHL player, very outspoken, controversial former player.
Yeah, I remember him.
And Jesse Waters said that he thought it was a case of homicide. And Sean Avery went, no, whoa, slow down.
That's a little... No.
Yeah, Sean Avery said he thought Petgrave did mean to hit him, but he didn't mean for it to have the result that it had.
And it's crazy because he actually got off the ice and he skated off. He was assisted, and you just see the blood dripping everywhere. But I didn't know that he had died. I mean, we found out obviously, but when I first
He was
saw
taken to hospital and he was pronounced dead. That's what I was told, and I assume that he bled to death.
For sure,
I assume that was the cause.
I mean, you see the blood.
Oh, I'm watching a clearer video now.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
I mean, we can talk about this, but I don't.
No, it's just sad because these are kids. They're hopefuls. I mean, this guy had played in the NHL, a couple games with the Penguins. Like in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I'm gonna have a bright career one day.
I don't know if he was thinking he's going to come back to the NHL because I think he's. I just don't think he was good enough, and I think he was one of these players. And there's a lot of these guys who end up going to Europe, and they make a pretty good living over in Europe.
Oh, I thought he was like a youngster, played a couple games, and then
I don't believe so. No, I think that he.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that he was a guy who. he had his cup of coffee in the NHL, and that was it. That was as far as it was going to go for him. But he went over to Europe, and I think those guys over in Europe, I think they can make a pretty decent living for a few years, and play hockey and have a good time, and then they move on.
They can probably play longer too, because it's not as physical, it's not as demanding. They can probably stretch it out a bit more than they would be able to in the NHL. There's not that many fresh young guys coming in to kind of push them out.
Yeah.
I just saw a clearer video.
Okay.
There is Adam Johnson on the far left, and there's another player between
Petgrave.
Petgrave and Adam Johnson. He's a colleague of Adam Johnson. He's on the same team as Adam Johnson.
Okay.
The guy, Adam Johnson, has the puck, and the player that hit him sees this, and he goes for him, but the other guy was in between. And to me, it seems like his left leg hit the other player's leg, and it kind of tripped, and it kind of threw him off balance, and his leg raised. That's what I'm seeing right now.
That's fucking horrible.
I find it difficult to believe that it was deliberate in the same way that you will never convince me that Zdeno Chara deliberately ran Max Pacioretty into that stanchion back in, I think it was 2011
I
or
remember
2012.
that hit, man.
I believe he meant to run him into the boards, but I don't think that Chara looked up and went, "There's the stanchion. I'm going to run him right into that." I think
you
the
think
stanchion.
so?
Yes, I think the stanchion just happened to be there.
But you don't think that after that many years and the experience that they have, they know exactly where they're located on the ice, and they know exactly where that part of the board, it was the, what do you call it?
Stanchion.
The stanchion starts. I mean, they know. And the guy's riding him up against the boards, and he knows there's no glass, and then whoop, it's coming. I don't know. That was very dirty of Chara. I remember
That's
that
an
hit.
illegal hit, though.
Which one?
Those hits on the boards where you grind them until where there's no
The glass started. Yeah, I mean, Pacioretty was out. He was knocked
I
out.
thought he was. I remember watching that and thinking, I was watching that with my wife at the time, and she said, "Is he dead?"
He literally passed out.
Yeah, I said, I don't know. But I find it difficult to believe that Chara deliberately ran him into the stanchion. I think he meant to run him into the boards, and he meant to hit him hard, but I don't believe he looked up and went, "There's the stanchion. I'm going to run this motherfucker right into that thing."
I mean, who knows? Who knows? But again, for me, it's hard to believe that you don't know where the fuck you are on the ice. You know exactly where these things are.
This is why I could never play sports, by the way. Like, if I were to get hit like that, I'd take it so personal, even if it was a mistake. I'd want to murder his entire family after. Like, I can't. This is why I can't play sports.
So what about that hit? It was during the playoffs, I think, where and he scored. I think I can't remember it was the Canadiens player. He came around the net.
Yes, that was
And
Jake Evans, and he was hit
that's
by
it.
Mark Shifley from Winnipeg.
Like that
was
must
brutal.
have been criminal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
That was really dirty.
Right?
That was really dirty. And Winnipeg played at the Bell Center last weekend, and they're still booing Shifley like 2 years later. He touched the puck at the Bell Center, and they're fucking, "Boo, you motherfucker."
rightfully so.
Yeah.
I remember that hit, and it was so dirty.
Yeah. It was after he scored a goal.
He was coming
celebrating.
around the net. It's like, dude, he's like, there's nothing you can do at this point.
Yeah, the puck's in the net. He's celebrating. His arms are up, and Shifley just blindsided him. Very dirty.
How do you not get kicked out of the league for shit like this?
I don't know. I don't remember what Shifley's penalty was for that. I don't remember if he got suspended. I think he might have
He
been
did.
suspended.
He got suspended for the rest of the.
Oh, did he?
The
Yeah.
playoffs, I
Oh,
think.
for the rest of the playoffs?
I think
Yeah?
so, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Yeah, I don't think he came back. I don't know. Unless someone in the chat remembers, feel free to.
Who was
let us
this?
know.
Who was this?
It was when the Canadiens went to the final a couple of years ago in their series with Winnipeg. Jake Evans, one of their players, scored a goal, and as he was coming around celebrating from behind the net, one of Winnipeg's players just leaned into him. You know, totally ambushed him and flattened him. So one of the upshots of the Adam Johnson incident is that hockey at all levels now is revisiting
The neck
mandatory neck
Was this in
protection.
2021?
Whenever the Canadiens went to the final,
It was during the pandemic, yeah.
21.
Mark Shifley, he got suspended for 4 games.
That's it. 4 games.
Yeah, 4 games by NHL Department of Player Safety.
But I don't think because they eliminated the
They
Jets,
eliminated
no?
the Jets. Yeah,
So that's why I don't think
I don't. He probably didn't play after that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was suspended for 4 games. But then,
So they're revisiting the whole question of making it mandatory.
Yeah.
This is what happens. See, and I've always imagined myself playing hockey, which is so far from reality. But I remember thinking to myself, if ever I were in the NHL, I'd be wearing a full fucking visor like they do in high school. And I don't care if they would make fun of me. The whole fucking thing, bro. The whole thing would be just, the whole visor thing.
Well, I can remember as a kid watching when nobody wore
helmets. I remember that.
Very, very, very few guys. Like the guys who wore helmets were the exception rather than the rule. There might have been,
Well, there were a few that were grandfathered in after they made it mandatory, like McTavish and Lafleur.
McTavish was the last one. McTavish was the last guy to not wear a helmet. There was a guy in 1968, I believe it was, named Bill Masterton, who played for the Oakland Seals, who fell and hit his head on the ice, and he died.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and there's actually a trophy that's named after him, the Bill Masterton Trophy, that's given annually for perseverance, dedication, that kind of thing. But yeah, so this is kind of the same thing. Like when somebody dies, you got to kind of go, you know what, guys, is it really worth it? Those are very rare incidences where someone gets badly cut by a skate.
Nobody wears a neck protector in the NHL. Nobody does.
No.
Yeah, but it's happened, 3 times, I think?
It doesn't matter. All it takes is for once, and you're done.
No, I understand. But it goes back to the argument, are we going to overprotect? It's like overprotecting society for a freak incident.
Yeah, but I don't think putting on a neck protector is overprotecting necessarily. One thing I heard this morning, I was listening to a panel discussion on TSN, and they were talking about possibly using the same type of garment that speed skaters wear. Speed skaters wear those full body with the
the
sort
hood
of thing. Yeah. And those are cut resistant.
Really?
Those are you can't cut those with a skate.
Oh shit!
And
I thought it was just spandex.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And they're very thin, right? So you could wear that. You could wear that underneath your uniform, and that could serve as protection.
They got to do something. Yeah, I mean, because you see the case where they get a stick to the face or whatever, then they come back with a visor or just leave it on, dude.
I have an idea.
Oh shit! Here we go. You ready, Ted?
Poseidon's he's got it figured out.
We change the way ice hockey is played.
Yeah, we take away the ice.
Everyone comes in with full-on battle armor.
Stop.
They
stop
add
there.
50
Just
pounds.
Stop.
Like that, no one's gonna get cut. No one's gonna get hurt. It's just everyone clinging into each other, just metal on metal.
Just stop. Do they come in on horseback?
No.
Horseback.
And the sticks are now metal as well.
Oh God.
It's possibly the worst idea I've ever heard.
Sorry, guys. So sorry.
Well, the sticks are like graphite now, or carbon. What do you call it? Carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber, yeah.
Yeah.
We turn it
Hockey sticks are
gladiatorial.
so fucking expensive now. It's crazy.
I've seen a hockey stick, and they're so rigid. I'm always shocked how they manage to break them so often.
Well, those guys are so strong, and they generate such speed. Like it's the same as club speed, I guess, when you're golfing, right? Sometimes they snap like twigs, eh?
Jeez.
And they're so friggin'
You've
expensive.
seen one, no? Have you ever touched a hockey stick?
Yes, of course.
They're so hard. You're like, how the hell does this
When my
break?
son
That's
was,
what she said.
yeah, well, wait, she's not going to be saying that in 30 years, but my son, when he was still playing, Dad, can you get me a new hockey stick? Yeah, sure. How much? $300.
Oh.
What are you, fucking crazy?
What the fuck?
Back in my day, like my whole fucking equipment package was not even $300.
It is a little absurd that for just a stick, it's $300.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what you're using, if it's quote unquote your job, you're going to invest.
If the professionals can afford it, no problem. I'm talking about like,
Well, the professionals don't even buy them. The team supplies them.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, but for my 17-year-old son,
Yeah, there
me to
you
go
go.
out and drop $300 on a stick.
It's a business, man.
Yeah, big time.
Especially since you can just find one in a forest, like it's crazy.
Hockey's an expensive sport. It's become a bit of an elitist sport. Like, not everybody can afford to
You
play.
have your kids in hockey, and every year, because they're growing, right? So you need new skates.
Yeah.
You need new protective gear. Everything has to change.
People
every
are
year.
still playing, though, because I swim at the Point Claire Aquatic Center, which is right next to the Bob Burney Arena. And most nights in the wintertime, it's hard to find a place to park because the rink's full. It's full with kids playing and parents watching.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah,
That's why I played soccer. My mother put me into soccer.
I never played anywhere. I think my dad was too lazy to take us anywhere. So we just played in the street, or we would go to a park. We played a lot of sports, but never organized where he would have to spend money on a uniform or equipment, or have to drive me across the city for games and shit. That wasn't going to happen.
Explains a lot.
And it was, and it was a good investment for them, especially the hockey sticks back in the day. They were wood. And when you would break them, they would put them in the garden. It's like,
It's true, eh? For the tomatoes. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. I used to like baseball. Baseball was my favorite
played a lot
sport
of
to
baseball
play.
too, yeah.
But as soon as I saw my first curveball, I was like, oh yeah. Okay, well.
You used to pitch?
No.
Oh.
The first time at bat,
Oh, okay,
somebody
yeah.
threw a curveball, and I was like, I can't hit that fucking thing. So I traded in my bat for a pool cue, and I became a pretty good snooker player.
No way.
Yeah.
What's the difference between, is that the one with the red balls? Snooker?
Yes, yeah, and it's played on a 12-foot by 6-foot table, as opposed to 8 ball is on an 8-foot by 4-foot table.
Okay.
So we used to play.
So it's a bigger table.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I used to play when I was like 16, 17 years old. That's all we used to do. We'd go down to the pool hall and shoot snooker.
Wow.
And then, life goes on, and I drifted away from it. And fairly recently, within the last few years, the president of the Snooker Association of Canada, I don't know how him and I got hooked up, but he said, come on, I'll play some snooker with you. So I hadn't played snooker for the first time in years, and it was like I needed binoculars to see the other end of the table. I couldn't believe how fucking far it was. Boy, did he clean my clock, too, because he plays all the time,
Are the pockets
right?
tighter? Snooker?
Yes,
Or-
yeah. 8 ball, you just got to be in the neighborhood, and the ball's going to fall in the pocket.
yeah.
But in snooker, you got to be pretty accurate. Snooker's big in England.
Yeah.
Like that's a big sport
So
over
what's
there,
the
and a
difference?
big money sport
So wait,
too.
all the balls are the red balls, and there's a black ball. Do you have the
There's
8 ball?
I think there are 15 red balls, and then there's yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, and black. So
do
you sink a red ball, and if you sink a red ball, then you get to shoot at red ball's worth 1 point, and yellow's 2, greens 3, browns 4, blues 5, pink 6, black 7. So after you sink a red ball, you can shoot any colored ball that you want. So ideally, you want to position yourself to get a shot at the black or pink or blue.
Right. But you got to shoot a red first, and
Yeah,
then
you got to
go
get a
the-
red first, and then when all the reds are gone, then you sink the colored balls in the order of the points, starting with the lowest one from yellow on out.
Okay.
Yeah, the
okay,
table
okay.
is rather massive.
12 by 6.
I used to, I don't know why I would stop when it was on TV, and I don't know if it's part of the game, but the balls that they would score, they would take them out and put them back.
Well, the colored ones, yeah, they take them out. As long as there are still red balls on the table, if you sink a red ball, then sink a colored ball, the colored ball comes back out and goes on its designated spot.
Okay.
As long as there are still red balls on the table. But once the red balls are gone, then you shoot a color, it goes down, it stays down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good game. And like I say, hugely popular in Britain. And there were a couple of Canadians who back in the day were, Cliff Thorburn was one, and there was another guy whose name I don't remember. They were world champions, very highly acclaimed, yeah.
Wow.
And big money purses for that.
Ted, I have a question for you.
Speaking.
Have you ever gotten into golf?
No.
I love golf.
No.
Fuck, I love golf.
I'll tell you a good golf story, though. I golfed with Yvan Cornway one time,
Oh, nice.
when I worked at Shome.
For the younger people listening, former NHLer.
Hockey Hall of Famer, former Montreal Canadiens captain. So we did
The Roadrunner.
The Roadrunner, yeah. We did a contest when I worked at Shome, win a round of golf with Yvan Cornway and one of the Shome announcers, and they sent me. And I'd never golfed before in my life. But I used to go to the driving range, and I could hit a golf ball pretty good on the driving range because I used to play baseball. So it's sort of the same thing. But I wouldn't necessarily hit it straight, right? Like if I hooked it, I'd say that's a double down the line. So anyway, I'm out there with Yvan Cornway, a guy from Bell Canada representative, because they were the sponsors, and a guy named Mark Mintzberg, who had he had won we did an auction. We auctioned off the round of golf with Yvan Cornway, and Mark had the highest bid. So we're out there golfing, and on the first tee, I hit one straight down the fairway. Like I hit a really nice tee shot, and I said, "You know what? Maybe I'll buy some clubs and I'll take up this game." Everybody laughs. So the round goes along, and Mark is beating Yvan Cornway, and Yvan Cornway is not happy because he's a 10-time Stanley Cup champion, and
They're so competitive.
unbelievably competitive. And Mark's having the round of his life. and he's beating Cornway, and Cornway is getting pissed. So I step up to the tee at another point, and I hit some worm burner off into the woods, and Cornway says, "Hey, Ted, you sure you want to buy those club? Ha, ha, ha." So I laughed, and then he gets up, and he... and he shanks one. And I said to him, "Hey, Yvonne, maybe I'll buy your clubs." And he turns around and he goes, "You want to play right now?" And I said, "Hey, Yvonne, it was just a joke." And he goes, "I don't take it."
Yeah. You'd be so serious.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because that's how competitive he was. Yeah. You loudmouth little snot-faced radio motherfucker. Do you know who you're talking to? I'm Yvonne Cornway, 10-time Stanley Cup champion and former captain of the Montreal Canadiens. And he came around after, like he realized that he's a very nice man. Yeah. He's a real gentleman. And he came around after and he started joking around with me because he realized that he'd been a little bit over the top.
It's just a benefit thing.
That was like over 30 years ago. And to this day, some of the guys I used to work with back then, they'll still go, "Hey, Ted, I don't take it."
That's funny.
That's still an expression in our little circle. I don't take it. I don't take it.
It's like a direct translation from French.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like, "Je prends pas ta joke," you know?
Yeah,
It is
actually. Yeah, well, that's what he meant. I'm not taking that joke.
Je la prends pas,
Yeah, I don't take it.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I love golf. I wish I played more of it, but sadly,
I feel like getting into it.
Honest to God, look, a lot of guys, a lot of people that I know and a lot of friends, they hate it because when you think of sports, you think of excitement, you think of sweating, you think
Hold on.
these things,
I don't want to take
energy.
it up. I don't want to take it up because it is a sport.
It is a sport. It's very technical and
look, it's borderline sport.
No, dude. It's a very technical sport. You can't just go there and do whatever the fuck you want. Let me just hit the ball.
I know it's very technical, but I don't know. Something about it seems like fun. You're just out.
It's the best. That honestly, above
people who love it get addicted to it.
Yeah, like I suck. I shoot around 100.
And how often do you golf?
I used to golf a lot. Now, once a year, twice.
Oh,
this
really?
year, I played once this year. My wife is happy.
But there are some
It's
guys.
a running joke. Every time spring comes along, it's a running joke with my wife. I'm like, "How many times? Let's put a bet. How many times do you think you're going to let me play this year?"
Some guys and women, because women can get hooked on it too. They go every day.
Yeah.
And then in the winter, they go down to Florida and golf every day.
It's very expensive, though, if you're playing, because, with a cart and whatever, depending on when you play, you're looking at over $100 per game, you know? But it's what you're saying. You go with a bunch of guys. The one time that that I play for sure every year, there's one game that we play for, like it's standard, it's in our agenda. We're 8 guys, and we go to Tremblant for the weekend. And we do 2 foursomes, and it's the best.
Hey. And then do you golf?
Yeah, we golf. Yeah.
That's funny. That's really funny.
We take our clubs.
Hey. Terry DeMonte has a good line about golf. He says, "I don't even want to do something I like for 5 hours."
But that's the thing. So back to what I was saying about a lot of friends of mine that are into sports. They're like, "Dude, you can't go and just play fucking 4 hours. Like, what is that? You're walking around, you're hitting a ball. Like, there's nothing. You're not even sweating.
It's your whole day, right?
Yeah, but that's the good thing about it. And I like going in the morning, like the early start, like tee off like at 7, 6:30, 7. So you're done by 11-ish.
Right.
So you still have the rest of the day, which my wife likes also.
I feel like golf was invented to get away from the wife.
For sure.
Yeah, but a lot of the wives like to golf. Like I say, there's a lot of women who
back
really
in the
enjoy
days.
golfing. Yeah, probably.
Nowadays, yeah. But back in the days,
No, but it's true that it can get you get addicted to, especially like if you get into it and you get obsessed with how am I going to hit what club, the distance, you get so consumed by it. You think of it, you watch videos all the time.
I'd end up being the guy who throws his clubs into the lake, though. You ever see those videos on the internet? It's frustrating. Some people get so frustrated.
Yeah.
They fucking fire their clubs off into the bushes, or they'll take the whole bag and throw it into the lake. Yeah, they get really mad.
I've always loved sports where you compete with yourself. So tennis is like that.
Yeah.
Golf is definitely like that. So the other people are good, but you need to get better, yourself in order to compete, right? It's not like soccer where you're going to run. It's a team. Okay, if I suck, I'll pass it to the other person or whatever, It's like, it's you. That's it.
the only thing I don't like about golf is the fashion sense. I feel like it's missing a bit of eccentricity.
No, now it's gone.
Oh, there's tons of eccentricity in golf. What's John Daly's clothing line?
Oh,
Big
my
mouth,
goodness.
loud
I don't know
mouth?
what
What's
it's,
it
I
called?
don't know what it's called, but
Yeah, there's some pretty crazy golf clothes out there. Oh yeah.
What's his name?
John Daly. He looks like
you could be John. Dude, if
could,
John
yeah.
Daly plays, you could definitely play.
You could be the Greek John Daly.
This fucking guy, he smokes,
Yeah.
he drinks beer,
Yeah.
he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at his pants. It's an American flag.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he's fucking good. Have
Yeah.
you seen his son?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Good?
These guys destroy the ball.
Is that right? Tiger's son is good too.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I was watching this thing, like, when you watch one video, the algorithm just fucking puts you on a loop.
Yeah.
And there's all these golf videos that keep coming up.
oh my God, he's hitting a ball while smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this guy-
and he looks like Santa.
Yeah, I want to be like this
He's
man.
a fucking rebel.
I found my my spirit
And he
animal.
won a major way back when. I think it was the British Open. That
I'm not sure, but he's won a few.
Yeah, he's won one or two majors for sure.
Yeah. So, and there's this video that comes up, and it's Tiger Woods, and I don't know who the other player is, and they're warming up. And the other guy is he's telling Tiger Woods, he goes, so your son, he's playing well. You guys,
Charlie.
Charlie goes, yeah. So how's it going with Charlie? He's getting really good. And Tiger's like, yeah, man, yeah, he's doing very good. He goes, for the first time ever, he almost beat me the other day. Yeah, I started panicking. I started sweating.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How old is the kid now?
14,
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's all these videos because they've had these golf things where they golf with their kids. I guess I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
and
they
were
have
golfing
father-son
together.
tournaments. Yeah, that's where I first saw Charlie
Yeah,
Woods.
incredible,
Yeah,
incredible. And you know that he's learning from his father.
Yeah.
like the same swing.
Yeah.
the
Well, he
same-
comes by it naturally. Plus, he's got Tiger Woods as a coach with him every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you
I
go
love
wrong
golf.
there?
Golf is just. I can play golf every day.
Yeah.
Every day I can play.
Then
golf.
why don't you? You said you only play once or twice a
Yeah, I
year
know.
now.
There's no time, and then
Yeah.
you're like, should I go play golf? And then your wife always has something that comes up. Always. I don't know, man. I don't know if your girlfriends are like that. They have all these things like backed up. They're like, this is the reserve. In case he asks for something that I don't want him to do, let's go.
She's got something. She's ready with something to shoot. you
Yeah,
down, eh?
yeah. It's like this magic hat. We're gonna go pick something out of there.
What'd you find, Poseidon?
I've seen bubble soccer.
What is that, man?
This could get insane.
This is what you should go play.
People just basically run into each
They're
other.
so stupid.
Oh yeah. I think like you're inside the bubbles.
Yeah, you're inside the bubbles and people just.
I've seen morons with these bubbles in an arena with a bull. Have you seen that?
No.
Christ.
They're so stupid.
You ever been to a bullfight?
No.
I went to a bullfight in Portugal many years ago, and I ended up hoping for the bull.
I always cheer for the bull.
It's so fucking cruel.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's this tradition.
It's their tradition,
Yeah,
and,
Spain,
look-
Portugal,
Yeah.
Mexico.
And I respect it. I mean, look, I get all these people don't hurt the animal, and I get it. Okay, that's fine. But I mean, that's what it is. That's the sport. But
But it is cruel. Like they're sticking fucking swords in the thing.
yeah.
And it's just,
and it's
yeah.
not
God
like
damn.
okay, let's kill it and it dies. Like it's
torture.
It's over whatever.
Yeah, it's
30
over
minutes
a period of
yeah.
time. It's torture. So yeah, when the bull knocks the
I've always cheered for the bull.
when he knocks Buddy on his ass, I'm on board with that.
And then you've seen those clips. I think it's in Spain where they have a tradition where they let the bull loose in the street.
Yeah, the running of the bulls.
And they're running.
Pamplona, yeah.
People get gouged, eh?
Dude, I love that shit, man.
I think people have been killed in those events before.
for
I
sure.
honestly love watching shit like that.
Yeah. You got to be pretty stupid to do.
But that's what I love watching.
You got to work your way up with that. You start with the running of the newborn calves, and then maybe do the running of the dairy cattle, and then move up to the running of the bulls. Like I'd run with the dairy cattle.
My
They
goodness.
just stand around like I just go. You gonna fucking chase me or not?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I live for fucking shit like this sometimes.
Yeah.
I can watch hours of videos of people's stupidity.
Yeah.
And them getting just fucking destroyed.
Well, there's lots of stupidity on the internet. That's for sure.
One man's pain is another man's entertainment.
There you go.
Let's fly by really quickly the Middle East.
Now's not a good time.
No, there was a report that came out that one of the Hamas leaders that kind of not orchestrated, but coordinated and oversaw the whole attack on October 7th was killed in one of the bombings in Gaza. So for me, it was like, okay, let's go, let's get them. It's devastating though to see the state in Gaza. I don't know if you've been watching videos or pictures. They have leveled that fucking city to the ground.
Yeah, it's
and I was watching a video the other day. They had captured 2 Hamas, I guess terrorists or militants, whatever the fuck they call themselves. I call them terrorists. So they caught them and they were interrogating them in a room, and they were asking them specifically about the underground tunnels. There is this giant network of underground tunnels that Hamas has built over the years. I guess that's where all the funding goes. And they have purposely dug them under hospitals, schools, refugee
Apartment
camps,
buildings, yeah.
apartment buildings, where they think that they won't be bombed. And that's what they were saying. And they were talking specifically about this hospital. I can't remember the name of the hospital. And one of the guys that they were interrogating was saying, yeah, in the basement, it leads to the tunnels. It goes, there's a couple of main entrances to the network, to the tunnels. One of them is in that hospital. It's on the bottom of the basement of the hospital. I don't know exactly what he was saying. And there you have it. So I understand that it sucks to bomb, residential buildings and schools and all these institutions and everything. But at the same time, this is where these guys are hiding. So what do you do? And I know that Israel, and from what they say and from what I've heard as well, there's a lot of warnings that go out. Say, look, we're bombing this place. Get the fuck out, And the other thing, which I found just ridiculous, while they were being interrogated, they were asking them, why aren't people leaving? Why aren't they evacuating Gaza? And they said that Hamas doesn't allow them. They have to get permission to leave Gaza. So everyone thinking, why isn't everyone evacuating? Why isn't Egypt letting them in? And we know Egypt's not letting them in. They never let them in anyway. Even though they're playing their card, that humanitarian card, let them in. The fact of the matter is that Hamas doesn't let them leave. They use them. So they let them die because that's what they want. They want people to think that
they let them die, and then they demonize Israel. Look, Israel's killing all these women and children.
Exactly, which is still sad. I mean, still there are thousands upon thousands of innocent people that have lost everything, and they have nothing to do with Hamas. It's just unfortunate that Hamas has. I mean, this is the way they work, right? They blend in with civilians, and they use them as shields, and it's horrible. Israel, because we've been saying this for a couple of episodes now, they have been preparing for a land invasion. They actually went in a couple of days ago. They have specific targets, that's what's happening over there. The saddest thing of all for me is to see the repercussions that this conflict has had internationally with all this anti-Semitism and even anti-Muslim. There's this hatred. We spoke about the guy in the U.S. that murdered that little 6-year-old Muslim boy because he thought, what? Muslims all over the world are atrocious human beings. No, and this is what sucks, because people are stupid. People are dumb out there. They don't understand the conflict, and we tend to generalize everything. All Jews are bad or all Muslims are bad, and it's not the case, unfortunately. And it's still very much surprising to me to see, for example, at Harvard and all these elite universities that are taking the side of Hamas. Like, what the fuck is going on out there?
Well, not only taking the side of Hamas, but I saw a video this morning of a Jewish student trying to walk through the campus at Harvard, and he was surrounded by people who were yelling at him, shame, shame, shame. He's not Israeli. He's Jewish.
What did he do exactly?
What he did is he was Jewish, and it's the kind of anti-Semitism.
Well, because it's a religion,
and in France. And possibly in other places, but I know for sure in France, they're starting to paint Stars of David on Jewish homes. Like, that's Germany in the 1930s, man. That's a precursor to Kristallnacht.
Yeah.
I never thought we would see that again. And my ex-wife grew up in Hampstead. She's not Jewish, but all her friends are. And she said they're beside themselves. She said they're absolutely beside themselves, and they're afraid. I have a friend who's Jewish, and I sent him a note. I guess a week and change ago, just to say, hey, I hope you're okay. I hope you and your family are doing okay under the circumstances. And he sent me back a note, which was quite flattering to me. He said, chatting with my wife, when times get tough, Jews play a game where they guess who would hide them in the attic from the Nazis. We both agreed you're a righteous Gentile. We will commemorate your act of heroism with a tree in Jerusalem. The Ted Bird Memorial Canadian Maple, eh?
It's good to see that there's the sense of humor that is still there to get them by. And again, we're not pro anyone.
Listen, if a Palestinian came to my door and said, there are people who are after me who are trying to kill me, I need you to take me in and hide me in the attic, I'd hide them too. It's not a Jewish or Palestinian or a Jewish or Muslim thing. It's a humanity thing.
It's just that when you're seeing the demonstrations all over the world, you're seeing the pro-Israel demonstrations that are nice and peaceful, and they're doing their thing. They're not bothering anybody. And then you're seeing the pro-Hamas, because the pro-Palestinian ones, I don't mind them. They have every right to demonstrate. The crappy thing about those is that, well, they get infiltrated by all these other extremists with their ISIS flags and their Al-Qaeda flags and all these other whatever terrorist groups flags they carry. It's disgusting to watch. And you mentioned Paris. London isn't any better. And the other day, I don't know if you saw what happened in Dagestan in Russia.
Oh, my God. That was crazy. That was the worst of all. Mobs roaming the tarmac at the airport looking for Jews. They heard that a plane landed that had Jews on board.
And we're talking about hundreds of people running around.
Looking for them to do harm to them.
It's this, like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? Like
well, Dagestan is a predominantly Muslim region.
Yes,
no?
for sure. Yes. Yeah. I don't know if it's independent or if it's considered Russia or if it's an autonomous. I'm not sure exactly what the thing is over there, but I saw that and I freaked out. Like you, I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime.
And to see it in the lifetime of Holocaust survivors too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unsettling to me. It's
I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends in the Jewish community. I worked with the Jewish community. I'm very close to them, and I speak to a few of them on a daily basis, and they just don't know what to do. One friend in particular, whose wife is somewhat of a high-profile kind of person, and she has a huge following on social media and stuff. And because of the relationship, she gets all this hate mail, and she posts pictures with her kid, and they attack her because the kid is Jewish and because her husband is Jewish. It's disgusting, man, and it has to stop. And I don't know exactly how they're going to do it or when they're going to do it, but I'm afraid that Western governments are paralyzed in front of this reality because we're faced with this freedom of expression and freedom of thought and all these freedoms that we have over here, that it feels as though their hands are tied. They're like, listen, they're expressing themselves and they're frustrated. It's beyond that.
But most Western governments are standing with Israel, are they not?
Yes, they are. But they're like, look what's happening in Canada. How many, like almost every day there's something happening, a pro-Palestinian or where you see Hamas flags and all these, all this violence.
Well, listen, that's part of freedom of expression, like you said. And
is it though? The freedom of expression is to have the Palestinians demonstrate peacefully, and if you want to walk the streets, that's not the problem. But attacking Jewish businesses, you saw.
No, that's not on.
You saw what happened in Toronto the other day. I think it was last week, where there was a pro-Palestinian rally, and you had all these idiots. They went into this Jewish or Israeli cafe or whatever people were eating, and they were banging on the windows. And,
yeah,
dude, what the fuck?
That's Kristallnacht. That's Germany in the 1930s.
Yeah,
that's not acceptable.
And history repeating itself.
And I think the only there may be more, but I think the only one that I know of that actually came out against these things was Macron in France, and he said anyone with a terrorist flag gets arrested. You get arrested. And it makes sense because today, if you walk out the street with a Nazi flag, you're getting arrested.
Yeah.
So why would you not get arrested if you're going out with an ISIS flag or an Al Qaeda flag or whatever whatever flag you have? You got to get.
You can't promote hate. You can't promote hate and incite violence. You can't do that.
I read somewhere, and I agree with it 100%. There's this political analyst in Canada. I forget his name, and I wish I had it so I can credit him this. But and he believes that in the coming years, the biggest challenge that we're going to face here in Canada, forget about the economy and all these things. The biggest challenge that we're going to have to deal with is this issue with Canadian ideology. What is it? Because seeing
Our
all these
identity, you mean? What is-
identity, the Canadian identity. I said ideology. Sorry,
Yeah.
Canadian identity. We're seeing all these images, and now there's Trudeau is trying to get the provinces on board to increase immigration. Okay, that's fine. Where are they coming from? What kind of background checks? And I think, given the context of what's happening in the Middle East and these pockets of hatred that are popping out everywhere in the Western world, I think it makes sense to maybe question who we're bringing in.
Of course it does. Under any circumstance, it makes sense to question who you're bringing in.
Yeah, but I mean, you have these countries that have this tradition of, being that humanitarian kind of center, right? It's like our doors open. We're here to help the people.
You still got to vet people.
Yeah, but a lot of these people that are running away from home, they don't have any papers. So what do you do? And by the time that it takes you to do all that research, when they end up at your border as refugees, well, they're living here. And they're not locked up. They're free. They're roaming free, and they're waiting for the government to do. And it takes time. It takes time to do to prepare your refugee papers and your refugee status. And it's not only in Canada. We saw what's happening in Europe, and there's this huge influx of all these people, and you don't know who's in there. You don't know who's in there. And now we're seeing, like, I'm seeing pictures in London, and it's crazy. I think was it the London mayor, or it may have been the Prime Minister of London that called that made these
Prime
gatherings.
Minister of England, you mean?
The London,
Yeah.
I said the Prime Minister of England. He made these pro-Hamas rallies illegal, and they didn't give a shit. They were in the thousands walking the streets, and they were just, pressuring the cops. What the fuck are you gonna do? We're thousands of Muslims here. It's strange, no? It's like an eye opener.
Yeah. Well, there is a concern that a lot of the people who are coming in are military-aged young men.
For sure. Yeah. We used to see it because I went through this. I went down this rabbit hole when back in 2016 with the war in Syria, you had waves of immigrants crossing over from Turkey to Greece, and everyone saw the sad news there, people drowning in the hundreds of people. They were just picking them up from the water dead, all those islands that were in the eastern tip of the Mediterranean in Greece and the Aegean were receiving all these immigrants. And it was just a humanitarian catastrophe. And all the images coming out were men. And you're thinking, where are all the women?
Yeah.
Where are all the women? I mean, there were some, and you saw kids, unfortunately, that had died as well. But the majority of them were men. The big issue, speaking of Greece and those immigrants running through Turkey, is Turkey. And I don't know if you've been following at all Turkey throughout this whole time. I'm not so sure what game they're playing, and we have to remind everyone watching or listening that Turkey is a NATO ally.
Is Turkey Muslim majority?
Of course, yes, yeah. yes. And not only that, but they ditched the secularism aspect that had been for a long time ingrained in Turkish politics and Turkish culture, and they ditched that and they brought back the veil and stricter Islamic principles. And Turkey has taken this leadership role in supporting Hamas and the Palestinian cause, which in and of itself makes absolutely no sense, because the way I see it, you can't support both. One is a terrorist organization, and the other one is a people that is trying to survive. And we went over this. But Turkey apparently has different pockets where Hamas organizes, they fund, they get militarized, and it's very well known. And I don't know if you saw the rally that happened in Turkey last week on the 20th of October. The 20th of October is an important national holiday for Greece. It's the liberation of Thessaloniki, and also Greece's offensive against the Nazis and the fascists of Italy. So it's a day that is commemorated in the calendar, and it's the exact same day that Turkey became Turkey in 1923. So they celebrated their 100th anniversary as Turkey. Before that, it was the Ottoman Empire, and there was this huge rally. We're talking about. I saw there must have been over 1 million people. Huge. And you have the Turkish president that came up.
Erdogan.
Erdogan that came out. And the shit that he was saying, Ted, was so alarming.
Yeah.
It was so alarming. He's like, we're going to come in. We're going to come and take Jerusalem. Jerusalem doesn't belong to the Jews. And we're going to come at night when you least expect it. And threatening the West, threatening the regional partners, threatening Israel, taking over the Middle East, saying this is our land. And he was making comparisons with, cities in Israel in reference to, for example, that city is like our Thessaloniki. And that city is like our other city, whatever, the cities that they've lost over the course of, the decades or centuries since the Ottoman Empire. And it was a completely revisionist speech, this expansionist speech. And I'm very, very worried about the strategy that Turkey has taken, because Turkey is an important ally, obviously a NATO ally. There was another article that I read where they took over one of these Greek islands, and there's nothing on it. It's just a small little rock, but it's still part of the Greek territory, and it's important because from that land you count the maritime zones that separate the countries, right? So for them, if they have it, well, they start from there going west, right? And there was an article that came out, and they had Turkish troops, and this happens very frequently. People don't know this. So they had Turkish troops that went up on that island, put their flag up, and they said that they were going to start testing S-400 missiles, which are the Russian missiles. And this is the big controversy with Turkey.
Are these surface-to-surface missiles?
I can't remember what kind of missiles. It's the S-400 missiles. And so they had an agreement with Russia. And that's where they kind of butted heads with the U.S., and the U.S. is not giving them the F-16s that they had promised them, which is part of the NATO agreement and the exchange of military arsenal. And they're pressuring because they want the F-16s, and you have Greece on the other hand saying, look, don't fucking give them the F-16. Well, first of all, they're a NATO ally, and they got Russian missiles. They're going to plug them into their system, and this is a system that they have NATO information that automatically is going to be delivered to Russia now, because they're going to plug that military arsenal that they have from Russia into their central, NATO-linked military system. So it's a huge problem in the region. I'm not so sure. There's a bunch of U.S. senators that are suggesting for NATO to kick them out.
Well, yeah, because it sounds to me like, based on what you said Erdogan was saying, it sounds to me like in an escalation in a broader context, he would ally with Iran. And if you're in NATO, you can't line up on the same side as Iran.
Turkey forever has played this role, and this is where they've gotten into, heated arguments with Saudi Arabia and other Arab nations.
They're right at the crossroads, of Europe and Asia. Turkey. They are the crossroads of Europe and Asia.
It is. You're in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
Everything. If you're crossing into the Mediterranean, going into Asia, you're crossing through Turkey. If you're going north-south, you're crossing from Turkey. It's the most important passage over there. So forever, Turkey has always played this card of the protector of the Arab nation and the Muslim nation. Of course, for everyone that remembers their history, the Ottoman Empire was pretty large, right? I mean, it had all the Middle East and the Balkans, including Greece. They had spread out, and obviously into Asia as well. So they've always played this card. Fact of the matter, though, is that it's no longer the 18th century.
Yeah.
It's not the 19th century either, and it's no longer the 20th century either. So things have changed, and they still want to occupy that space. They want to think themselves as this important player in the region, and they are an important player in the region. I just don't understand the position they're taking. And even though, and I speak for a lot of the Greek people that I talk to on a regular basis, that are suggesting get them out of NATO, I'm not so sure that would be a smart idea, because at least now they're an ally, and you have something there to keep them somewhat under control. Like, a lot of, I speak to my family in Greece, like, oh, Turkey is going to attack us. They're not going to attack you. Your ally, your NATO allies, they're going to provoke you. There's, they always go into the airspace and into their water,
Territorial waters.
Water. But they can't attack you. They can't attack you because
Is Erdogan elected?
Yeah, he just got elected.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. You think maybe the fix is in?
So no,
Do you know about the coup d'état that happened in Turkey that he orchestrated?
back in 2014, apparently he orchestrated it to see who was on his side.
Okay.
And it failed miserably. And that led to thousands of people getting imprisoned, hundreds that have fled and seeking refugee status in Europe.
So he's not exactly on the up and up, is what you're saying.
The best story for that is the mayor of Constantinople, or Istanbul, like they call, and that's an important municipality because even Erdogan was the mayor of that city.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's usually a springboard into higher office, right?
Okay.
Very popular politician. And he was the runner-up he was supposed to be the runner-up in these elections, and he knew he was going to beat Erdogan. When at the municipal elections in Constantinople, he won with a resounding majority. They cancel that election. They find, I can't remember what reason, they cancel that election. They repeat the election, and he wins again. So that's how popular he is, all right? And but ever since that, but listen to the law. Compare we complain often about our justice system, but compare the two now, okay? Since that thing happened, the mayor called the electoral officers there, I don't know, like losers, or these guys are, thieves or whatever. And because he called them a bad name, they took him to court and imprisoned him.
Jesus.
To the point where he wasn't able to run in the presidential elections this year. So it just goes to show you. And we're here fucking swearing at Trudeau, calling him names. Nothing's
Let's
happening.
just say, Ted, just to give you an idea, let's say it was a competition between me and Brad Pitt as to who's the most good looking.
Ooh, tough one.
And I won by 80%. You'd ask yourself a lot of questions.
Excuse me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's funny.
I would believe that in a heartbeat. So anyways, so all that to say that I talk to a lot of people in Greece and like, oh man, I hope he attacks us. Nothing will happen. They're NATO allies. There may be provocations. Now, the people that are suggesting for Turkey to get out of NATO, for me, is a dangerous move because then NATO doesn't exist and you can't control them. And there's nothing you can do to say, listen, quiet down, get together, talk it amongst yourselves and figure it out. That's out the window.
So if you've got them in NATO, you got them on a tiny bit of a leash at least.
At least. I mean, you can't really control them because they're probably the only NATO ally that has taken that route in support of Hamas.
You can influence them.
But there's always something that you can do. And if that's not there, then it's gone. And then I believe that they become even more dangerous.
Yeah. Who do you think's running the U.S. right now? Because Peepaw he's
I don't
out to
think
lunch,
anyone
eh?
is running the U.S. I have no idea.
He doesn't know where he is.
The Congress just finally elected a new speaker. What's his name? Mike Johnson or whatever his name is. So let's see what happens there, because there was a fear that everything was going to go on pause because obviously they're supposed to be preparing the new budget.
I can't believe that Biden's going to run again. He's out to lunch. There's got to be a better option for the Democrats than him. There's got to be.
Wild.
For me, it's tough because it's one thing for him to want to run again. And his family.
He doesn't know what he wants. He wants porridge. That's all he wants. He wants porridge and he wants them to put his shows on TV. That's all he wants. He doesn't know fuck all other than that. He doesn't know where he is. He's a doddering old man.
It's sad. It's very sad. And we spoke about that last week. I see these things, and the only thing that I keep wondering and asking myself is why isn't anyone, especially in the party, looking at this and saying he is not okay? The right thing for us to do is to convince his family to take care of him and to live the rest of his life wherever he wants to, away from politics. It's not right to do that because you're exposing, first of all, you're the face of your country. You're tripping downstairs, falling off stage. You don't know what direction to go to. He's coming up on the stage and he's lost. He's lost. And it's sad to see. And, look, he's an older man and definitely he's reached this, this point where, I don't know, is he senile? Is he, I don't know, but he's definitely not fit for office. And so what I was saying is that it's one thing for him to think that he wants to do it, but then you have this huge machine called the Democratic Party. What the hell are they doing? Why isn't anyone telling him, look, dude, we can't run you again. You're not well.
Maybe because
for the good of the party.
It's not him.
Maybe it's because it suits their purposes to have him as their front man, while whoever runs it from behind the scenes runs it. I've seen it suggested that Obama is still calling the shots.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got nothing to.
Oh my God!
That would prove that, but I see it on social media all the time. People saying that Obama's still calling the shots behind the scenes, or still wielding enormous influence.
That would make
that doesn't surprise me. A lot of former presidents still keep a certain influence,
and he did his 2 terms, so he couldn't run again.
But that would make it illegal, no? If he's calling the shots behind the scenes.
Calling the shot, man. I mean,
I don't know.
Kissinger, you know how long he's been running.
Calling the shots might be too strong a statement, but wielding a lot of influence behind the scenes.
It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. They're so linked and so tied into the machine.
Yeah,
you can't get away from it. You're just no longer a public figure. You're no longer an elected official. But yeah, man, you move things behind the scenes. It happens everywhere.
And to what extent do you think the deep state exists?
Oh, for sure it exists.
Yeah.
For sure it exists.
Yeah, these lifetime bureaucrats in the intelligence services.
Yeah.
Like they've got to be wielding enormous influence as well.
I think they have all the influence.
Yeah.
And the elected officials are just puppets.
Yeah. Well, that was supposed to be Trump's thing in 2016. He was going to clean the swamp. He was going to empty the swamp, drain the swamp.
You can't do shit.
No.
You can't do shit. I've seen it to a certain degree here, and we're not going to compare. I mean, this is peewee politics in Quebec.
Provincial politics
compared to what's happening in the U.S.
Swamp's not quite as deep.
Yeah, no, it's peewee shit. But the public service in Quebec is ginormous, and you have people. What people need to understand is that you have the prime minister and you have his ministerial, his cabinet ministers. They run a ministry, but they don't operate it. It's not the cabinet minister that operates that whole machine. You have what they call a sous-ministre. So the sous-ministre is the guy that basically he's the CEO, if you want, of the ministry in question, right? Of the cabinet, of the department. And these people have a lot of fucking power.
Yeah.
They have a lot of power. Like these are, because the guy that gets elected and he gets appointed to, Ted Bird gets appointed to education minister. You don't know fuck all about the education system. So the first week, what you're doing is meeting with me, George, le sous-ministre. And I'm like, okay, Monsieur Bird, here is the direction. This is what we're doing. Blah, blah, blah. These are the priorities. This is what you need to do. Blah, 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 blah. Now, a lot of them go in there thinking they have big balls, and they're like, okay, no, this is what we're going to... And the sous-ministre is like, sir, listen to me.
Yeah.
For your benefit, you can't do it. And they have everything. I've sat in meetings with sous-ministre. The intelligence these people have to balance between political benefit and... the public service and what's best and the money, they know everything. They know everything.
I think I told you about what Dennis Miller said about when, there's a great Dennis Miller special from, I think it's around 2008. And he did it in Washington. It's a stand-up comedy special, and he's standing in front of a podium, like the presidential podium, and it's very, very funny.
He's so funny, Dennis.
He's so smart.
Yeah.
He's smart funny. So he talks about when the president of the United States gets elected, a new president gets elected, he says 2 things happen. First thing is they let you give the alien corpse at Roswell a titty twister. And after that, they take you into the basement of the White House and they open up the "here's how really fucked up things are" binder. And that reminded me, what you just said reminded me of that. I mean, he's being funny and over the top with it, but that's, it's basically the same thing.
It is that.
But I love the titty twister for the alien corpse at Roswell.
No, but that's how it is. So I've seen that in Quebec, and I can only magnify that by, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 times.
Yeah.
Like for the U.S., it's a
imagine the
giant
secrets.
machine.
Imagine the secrets that must reside deep in the bowels of the White House and the Pentagon.
There are decisions being made elsewhere other than the political offices that influence the decisions that are made. I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I mean, it is what it is, and it's a huge fucking country, and that's how it runs. I wanna end the show on a lighter note. There was an article, and fucking Globe and Mail, I don't know who's there, who they have on the inside. These guys break every freaking story for the last 2 years. They are the ones bringing it out. Anyway, so the story that came out, I'm pretty sure it was in the Globe and Mail, about Sophie Grégoire dating again, right? So Sophie Grégoire, for those who don't know, is Justin Trudeau's wife. They recently announced that they were separating. Not that anyone was surprised. Everyone kind of knew behind the scenes that things weren't going well for a long time.
Well, him and Poseidon have had a thing going on for quite some time now.
And
how do you think I pay no taxes?
So
there's the promo.
So the article leaks about her dating again, and normally I wouldn't care because she's allowed to do whatever the fuck she wants,
of course.
But the way they found out about it was very interesting to me. This is the way. So she's dating
he's a doctor, right?
Yeah, he's a pediatrician, I think.
Okay,
and he got divorced from his wife. And in the divorce settlement, the wife had a written statement that he's already dating someone. I cannot say her name, but she's a very high-profile person. She moves around with security detail and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of attention on her security and safety. And I don't want my kids exposed to that. So that's part of the divorce settlement. I don't want my kids around that whole situation.
So I don't want my kids around that whole situation. So let me go on public record and mention.
No, but she didn't mention her name. She just says, "Look, my husband."
Come on.
Well, look.
Who else moves around with a security detail in Canada?
Fucking singer, an actress. It could be anyone.
Even celebrities do.
Yeah, but I don't know. So she mentioned that in the divorce settlement. And the reason this article came out is because the guy broke those conditions. So I guess they went somewhere with Sophie Grégoire and the kids were there. And the wife, she's like, okay, this is it. So I don't know how the fuck they come up with this information. So it leaked to the media and they're like, okay, this is Sophie Grégoire. I mean, who else? Like you said, right? And the story came out. And then they looked at the divorce settlement and this was done so long ago. I think it was late last year, the divorce settlement, and there was already mention of him dating another woman, blah, blah, blah. So obviously, this just goes to...
so she's been dating this guy since before Trudeau and her announced their separation.
For sure. So now... and normally nobody would care, right? I mean, she could do whatever she wants, but knowing this now, that she's been dating this guy way before they announced it, why are our taxpayers still paying for her security detail? Why had she traveled to all these places with Justin Trudeau, faking that they're still together?
That's true,
for the pictures?
Yeah, like for the coronation of King Charles as an example. Did they not go together for that?
Was it early?
Or was it the Queen's funeral?
The coronation, I don't think he went. I don't think Justin went to the coronation.
Well, anyway, they went to London together within the last several months.
Whatever in
this calendar year, I'm quite sure they
vacationed or whatever the hell they went. They went to Montana or I don't know where they went. And all this on our... This is, off our pocket.
On our dime.
Right? Yeah, on our dime.
Of course.
And people are wondering, what the hell is this shit, man? Okay, look, it's your business. Do whatever you want. If you're not together anymore, it's fine. We don't care. But at some point, you're going to have to stop being surrounded by security. And we're going to have to take away certain privileges. You can't fucking travel anymore on our expense. And I think it's 100% right. You can't be doing that anymore.
And was that the basis of the Globe and Mail story? Was it sort of an expose on taxpayers are still footing the bill where they shouldn't be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they took that angle and not, the whole gossip angle, like, oh, she's dating again and it happened.
Yeah.
So they lied to us and it was all an image and,
She could be my third wife if she played her cards right.
Beautiful woman.
Very
I
attractive
met Sophie. Sophie's a cool.
I actually scared her at a movie premiere one time.
Oh, yeah?
I think it was some sort of Halloween themed or costume themed thing, and I had some costume on, and I didn't even know it was her. And I was at the candy counter, and she was there, and I went boo, and she was like, "Ah!" And then I realized she was with Justin. This was before he was prime minister.
Yeah, he was just an MP.
Before he destroyed the country.
Yeah. Prior to that. But he was at the movie premiere because he was friends with Terry. Right?
Yeah.
Monte.
Yeah. She's going to start. So there's an article that came out, I think, yesterday. She's going to start again her speaking engagement. So
as long as she doesn't sing, just don't sing.
Yeah, no.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was really embarrassing. What a cringe fest that was. She sang. She was at I think it was a Martin Luther King themed event.
I can't remember.
And she decided she was going to sing a song that she wrote, and it was really cringeworthy. It was like, oh yeah, I wanted to crawl into a hole and die.
If
it was
you're
bad.
a bad singer, the only time it is ever acceptable for you to sing is at karaoke nights and for comedic purposes.
Yeah, you know what? Even if you're a good singer, you got to pick your spots.
Yeah.
And the spot she picked was not good.
Yeah, no.
It was a real cringe fest.
I'm happy she's finding her life again. I always liked Sophie. I had met her, obviously, like you said.
So you got to know her a little bit?
Yeah, we would work very often with Justin.
very well.
When
Did she ask about me?
No, not that time. No, but it's fine. I mean, and by the way, she is way more talented. Well, Justin isn't talented at all. But, in the beginning when Justin came out in politics, they're like, oh, look at this beautiful politician and well-spoken. And he's so, inspiring and all that shit. She is so much better than him.
Well, there's a famous clip of her, and I don't know how they're. I don't know if
she was in the public way before him.
Yeah,
People knew her.
she was a broadcast journalist, was she not, or a broadcaster?
I think she was on the radio. I can't remember.
But there's a famous clip of her saying to him, "Humility, like settle down. Whoa, slow down. Get a hold of yourself." Yeah, so because he was like a peacock. He was ruffling his, showing off his feathers.
So she's going back on the circuit. She's going to start speaking her public speaking engagements. I'm interested to see what she's gonna be doing. She's an interesting person. I never had an issue with Sophie. Really interesting person and a really good person. Like I always got along with her.
So as long as we're gossiping, do you think him and Melanie Jolie
no, I don't think so.
or were a thing?
No.
You don't think so, eh? Because that was the hot rumor, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think something happened.
No.
Nah, I've seen some pictures.
They seem pretty cozy, don't they?
But he seems pretty cozy with everyone, even with men.
Nah.
No, that's true. And I have met him a number of times. He's very handsy.
Yeah, and he's very up close.
Yeah,
like, hey, how are you? And he looks at you in the eye.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're gonna make out with me now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a toucher.
Yeah. Oh yeah, touchy feely. Yeah, and he's actually I don't agree with his politics at all. But anytime I've met him, I've met him a few times. He's a very nice guy. He's very friendly.
It's just difficult. I haven't seen him since he was prime minister. I've seen him a couple times, but it's been a while. I think since I left politics, since 2017 or 18, I haven't seen him. I feel though that if I see him now, that whole thing that we just talked about, that whole friendship thing, and
you're gonna kiss him.
No, it's gonna go out the window, and I'm just gonna focus on how stupid he is and the decisions that he's made. I feel like I'm gonna see him and be like, "Hey, Malaka, what the fuck are you doing?" Like that, straight. Hell, man, you've been fucking us, bro. Come on. He's gonna be like, come on, George. I'm like, no, man.
Come on, bring it in, George.
Take the fucking cucumber out of my ass, bro. Come on, fuck. What have you been doing? Shit.
You put cucumbers in your ass.
He put it. Didn't he put one in yours? No, but you don't pay taxes. You're saying
There you go.
You're good. You're good.
That's why he put his dick.
There's the other promo.
Last topic, and then we're gonna end.
You don't want to go out on him getting boned up the ass by the prime minister.
I don't.
If there's not a natural out, if that's not a natural out, I don't know what is.
Just because this has made a lot of, has taken up a lot of attention. He was it last week? End of last week, he went to the Maritimes. I think he was in New Brunswick. I can't remember, or Nova Scotia, one of those provinces.
Hey, I live in one of those. I'm from one of those provinces.
Where do they still use heating oil?
I don't know. I haven't lived there in 45 years.
I can't remember. I don't know if it's in Nova Scotia. Anyways, he was in the Maritimes, and he announced that he's going to take a pause from his carbon tax. You know, that famous carbon tax that he's been screwing everyone with across Canada, except Quebec, because Quebec has its own little thing. And he announced, because they still use heating oil, that he's going to take a break from the carbon tax, that they won't have to pay for the carbon tax anymore. And they announced a series of other measures to, as incentives for people to upgrade to, I don't know, electric or natural gas or whatever, And all hell broke loose because, dude, you've realized that your stupid carbon tax has put a dent in people's pockets.
Yeah.
Stop playing it as if, it's to help these people out, upgrade their systems and all that stuff. And it was a huge victory for Poilievre, who's been saying what for the last 2 years now. What's his slogan? Axe the tax. Axe the tax. So I don't know where this is going to go because.
You know what it seems like? It's happening to me. Here's the thing: I'm not very ingrained in politics. All of his moves lately seems like he's setting himself up to lose, so he can therefore leave politics,
or
leave with dignity. Because instead of being like, "Oh no, I quit, I can't do this anymore," people are gonna be like, "Yeah, look at you now." Now he's gonna lose. And he's going to be like, okay, I can retire.
No, this is all candy. A lot of people are thinking, is there an election in the
weird the way he reneges on stuff now. He was so adamant about certain things, and all of a sudden, he's reneging, giving him more ammunition to his competitors.
But this is
not something you do in politics.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I see it two ways. Either these are little candies that he's starting to give away because maybe they're preparing an election, who knows? Or the other thing, which a lot of analysts have been talking about, is that there is this deep division in his caucus to the point where he's caving into the pressure. And a lot of his MPs from the Maritimes have been busting his balls about the carbon tax and how it's affecting families over there. And he had no choice but to make that announcement. But the problem now is that what's going to happen in, Quebec doesn't qualify in his carbon tax, but in Ontario, for example, where a lot of them are using natural gas, are you going to do something about that? Are you going to do something in the other provinces? How can you make this sort of promise in one part of the country and ditch the other one? So there's more to come, and we've been saying this for months now, that there's something up in his caucus. I don't know how
I bet there is.
So I don't know how the climate is in there, but I've been hearing this for at least over a year and a half now. I've been getting some whispers that, but it's not going well in the caucus, blah, blah.
What's going on with your caucus, man?
A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure in the caucus. Anything else, Ted, before we leave?
No, I think on that immature note, we can be on our way.
Thank you all so very much for tuning in again, as you do every single week. We appreciate you. We love you. Share this content and, let us know what you think. Head on over to Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast, every Wednesday morning. New episodes with our man over here, Ted Bird. The Poseidon69 on all platforms. I'm Poseidon.com on his website. And you can follow me at the Backstage Podcast or Politiquement Parlant if you know and understand French. Thank you all so very much. We'll see you all next week. Take care.